On January 21, 2025, Ross Ulbricht walked out of a federal penitentiary in Arizona a free man, the recipient of an unconditional presidential pardon. He left behind a sentence usually reserved for violent cartel bosses, 2 concurrent life terms, plus 40 years, without the possibility of parole. From 2011 to 2013, he had operated as the Dread Pirate Roberts, the mastermind behind the Silk Road. The market scale was enormous. Over its brief lifespan, the Silk Road processed more than $200 million in transactions, facilitating a global trade in illicit narcotics that was linked to at least 6 overdose deaths. Yet this convicted drug trafficker and money launderer became a political cause celeb, fueling a decade-long Free Ross movement that united libertarians and crypto pioneers alike. Understanding this pardon requires looking past the drug trade to the collision between a radical anti-state philosophy and a secret, unconstitutional government surveillance program. Ulbricht's motivation was agorism, a radical left libertarian ideology that seeks to starve the state of power and tax revenue by moving all economic activity into unregulated black and gray markets. To make the theory work, he needed a shield. By hosting his marketplace on the Tor network, he routed traffic through a volunteer-operated privacy network that obscured the IP addresses of every buyer and seller on the site. For the economy itself, he used Bitcoin. The Silk Road provided the first major proof of concept for the cryptocurrency, allowing millions of dollars to flow across borders beyond the reach of central banks. But the screen provided a lethal distance. When Ulbricht allegedly paid $730,000 for 5 murders for hire to protect the site's anonymity, he wasn't looking into the eyes of his victims. He was managing usernames on a dashboard. By removing the physical contact of the drug trade, the technology turned human lives into abstractions. The experiment successfully bypassed state control, but in the process, the philosopher king became a criminal CEO. While Ulbricht operated in the shadows, federal law enforcement was struggling to catch up. Initially, they had no clear way to breach the Silk Road's encryption or identify the servers. To bridge the gap, the government employed parallel construction. This involves the NSA conducting warrantless surveillance on citizens and then passing that intelligence to domestic law enforcement agencies like the DEA. Intelligence from the NSA moves through a back channel to the DEA, who then manufacture a completely false investigative trail. This fake narrative is what defense attorneys and judges see, while the illegal, warrantless source of the evidence remains hidden. This bypass effectively silences the Fourth Amendment. By hiding the true origin of their evidence, the state avoids the strict legal standards set by the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, stripping defendants of their right to challenge an illegal search. The case was further tainted by the government's own personnel. 2 federal agents working the investigation were eventually caught and convicted for stealing Bitcoin from the Silk Road while they were supposed to be building the case. In their pursuit of Ulbricht, the state's investigative methods began to mirror the moral ambiguity of the marketplace they were trying to destroy. The shutdown of the Silk Road didn't end the darknet, it only decentralized it. Bitcoin entered the mainstream, but it remained tethered to a reputation for lawlessness that it is still trying to outrun. That reputation is what made the 2025 pardon possible. For many, Ulbricht's double life sentence became a symbol of a weaponized justice system, one that would use unconstitutional surveillance and corrupt agents to secure a win at any cost. Ulbricht became a martyr because his trial was seen as the ultimate clash between individual digital liberty and the overreach of the surveillance state. The tragedy of the Silk Road was a double failure of principles. The technology intended to liberate the individual instead provided the distance for its creator to authorize murder. In the end, the anarchist abandoned his morals to protect his market, while the state abandoned the Constitution to destroy it. In the battle for the dark web, neither side emerged with their philosophy intact.